All right. Well, we'll give it one more second here. If you do have projects, feel free to forward it along, and then try to get logged in with the link that was provided in the webinar chat. All right. And without further ado, I think we're going to get moving here. Okay, so welcome. My name is Dr. Jim Lanny. I'm the CEO of Intellective Statistics, and we're happy to do a workshop. And the goal is to move you along your analysis arc as best that we can within this hour or so. It's basically going to take a few steps of uploading your data, managing some of your data, and then conducting the analyses, putting it into your own voice and downloading that, or downloading that and then putting it into your own voice. So that's kind of the way we're going to go here. I guess I will ask the quick question. Does anyone need me to go over what an independent and dependent variables are, or levels of measurement, nominal, ordinal, scale? So if you would put that into the Q&A, that would be great. Just so I can get a sense of what's happening here. And Melissa, if you can give me an update of what's happening there.
I haven't had anyone. Yep. So if you could go over that, there are some people that want to see that.
Okay. So, all right. So we'll just give it a quick shot here. So we'll go over some of these basics: IV, DV, covariate, or independent variable, dependent variable, and levels of measurement. Create an account, getting your data in, analyses, download, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So there's basically 3 levels. All quantitative data has basically 3 levels of measurement. Nominal, it's Latin for name only. And as the title suggests, the name suggests, it's just the name of things. Males, females, Republican, Democrat, Independent, things of that sort. So they're just names of things, but they don't have any order whatsoever. The next level of measurement has a name, but also an order to it. So, and that name could be, first, a horse coming first, second, third. Okay. So there is an order, but the time or the intervals between each of these do not have to be the same. For example, 8-ounce Coke, 12-ounce Coke, the big gulp at 32 ounces. Again, you have small, medium, extra large. It's an order, ordinal, but it doesn't have, again, those equal intervals. Scale variables have the name, have the order, and have equal intervals in between, like temperature or age, 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. Okay, years of age. You have a name, year 1, year 2, year 3. You have an order, right? 1, 2, 3. And then you also have equal intervals, right? There's the same amount of days, not counting leap year, same amount of days between 1 to 2 as there is between 2 and 3. So that's the brief overview that different tests use different levels of measurement. So you need to know what those are. And these icons will be in the analysis box, which is nominal, looks like a Venn diagram. Ordinal, you have some order, and then scale like a ruler, which you have equal intervals in between those hash marks on the ruler. Okay. Just to bang that point home, levels of measurement, nominal, fruit, banana, orange, apple, okay? No value associated with them. One's not more or less than the other. They're just names. Ordinal, his activity level, sedentary, moderately active, very active. Again, you have an order of activity, but the amount of energy one might expend between sedentary and moderately may be very different than between moderately active and very active. So you have the order, but not equal intervals necessarily. And then, as we mentioned earlier, there's also scale level variables. Other folks call it interval and ratio. Intervals equal intervals. Ratio has a 0 point. You can remember that with the O at the end of that as a mnemonic, and just the idea that that there's equal intervals between 10 and 20 degrees, between 20 and 30, and so forth. Okay, that's one core bit of information. Melissa, I would say everyone on the call should get the primer on that too, just to make sure. So when we send out the video, you'll get a little primer on what we're covering here, as well as the video. All right, let's move on to different types of variables. So the primary variables we want to talk about are independent variables and dependent variables. Independent variables are typically variables that are, I'll say, manipulated by the researcher, or, okay, so they have the influence over that. I want to look at, mile run times by gender. So the researcher's deciding, right, what that independent variable is. In this case, it's gender, males, females. So, okay. A dependent variable really is dependent upon the observation or the participant. So that's a good mnemonic for that. The dependent variable depends upon the participant. And in my example, I want to examine if there's different run times, mile run times, okay, by gender. Great. So the amount of time it takes someone to run that mile is dependent upon them, and that is our dependent variable. Okay. Covariates are yet a third type, and covariates are variables that we want to control for, or we want to neutralize the effect for. So in my example of, I have a primary research question, which is, are there differences on the how long it takes to run a mile by gender? But then you notice, the women seem to be of a younger group and the men seem to be of an older group. Well, maybe the better run times are based on age rather than on the gender, which is the core research question. So I might want to neutralize or control for, okay, the impact of age. So what you can do is if that potential covariate is correlated or related to the dependent variable, in this case, if there was a correlation between age and run times, you might want to control for that, neutralize the effect of that to get to the heart of the question, which is, are there differences on run times by gender? Okay. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and log into Intellectus. All right. All right, so if you have issues with that, again, you can contact into the Q&A, Melissa or Ashley or Ashley. All right. So while you're all logging in, so there's some, and if you don't have data, no problem. I'll use data and show you. If you're in one of these camps, you are not alone. There are very common problems that most people have. And in fact, Intellectus came about because of these three problems, which is students and faculty didn't know which test to conduct. Okay, they knew what their research question was, and they knew what their levels of measurement of the variables were, but they didn't know how to select it. So we developed a kind of user-friendly or layperson decision tree to help you kind of figure out which test to conduct. There's also difficulty in how to conduct it. A lot of the tools, Stata or SPSS or even Excel, it's like, okay, where do I find the assumptions? How do I navigate the tool to conduct the analysis, to do so in a rigorous way? So we really streamlined that process, and with a few clicks, you'll be able to conduct analyses. The third common problem, which was folks didn't know how to interpret the output. Is a significant Shapiro-Wilks test, is that good or bad? Is that assumption met or not? So what we've done is we literally interpret the output in plain English prose. The assumptions are explained as well. And for the graphical assumptions, we have scroll overs to help figure out what that all means. Okay. And all right, so let's get to it. Loading your data. All right. So here is here is the tool. It's web-based. Melissa, do I need to wait for anybody else to
No, I think you can move through it and then, go through the general and then go to the projects.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just do a few things here. So let's so for the folks that have data, I really do want you to be able to upload your data. So let's go to upload data. Okay, and we'll go to an Excel file. I think I want, well, let's just do this. So I'm just going to go to Rosenberg self-esteem and upload that file. When you upload files, typically a alphanumeric variable, like whatever, nominal or ordinal, they'll all be opened up as nominal. And if it's a number, pure number, it'll open up as scale. Sometimes, let me see if I could do this. Let me see here. So this is a very typical data set that I've opened up here, which is I have some demographic variables, okay, and then I have some pre-test, I have some post-test, and then I have perhaps open-ended. So we want to do a few things here. So what the data cleaning wizard accomplishes is we just need one row of headers in our tool in Intellectus. So we're going to want to get rid of these. Okay. We're going to want to turn these, since these are all a pre-test subscale, I'm going to want to change those Likert type labels into numbers so I can average the numbers. You can't really average strongly agree and disagree. You need a number there. Okay, so it's a 1 to 5 scale, and we'll do that. And then we may want to manage some of this open-ended so we can at least get some understanding of the kinds of buckets that are there. So that's just an example of data that might be uploaded. So let's use this data cleaning wizard. By the way, the data cleaning wizard came from users like you that said, we spend a lot of time data cleaning. By the way, most data cleaning probably is 95% of the job. I could literally do a job in 41 seconds, the whole job, the whole dissertation or analysis. It's that data cleaning that takes an hour. So hence the data cleaning wizard. So let's just get to some of this. So the first thing I want to do is multiple headers. Yes, you want to get rid of these headers. Okay. All right. So we'll need to know what's Q1, Q2. All right. And these other ones. So I'm going to apply changes. Go to next. Next is edit variable names. So if I know that this is gender, okay, I can just change that. If I know this is age, I could change that. I can apply the changes. And you can see we've changed that. And now let's just go ahead and change these into numbers. So I do have, go to next. First misspellings. Oftentimes, for some reason, you'll have, male's got a capital M or a small m, and then you have to go back and manage it. So we want to we use a little bit of technology to collapse what we think are the same labels. So here we have disagree with 3E's and disagree with 2E's. I can merge those. You can see what it's like before. I have disagree with 3 and 2E's respectively. And then after the merge, I'll have that. Okay, so I can apply those changes, merge those together. Ditto with K post 4, before and after, apply that merge. Great, no more misspellings, let's carry on. I do have like type items, go to yes. And I happen to have a 5-point agreement scale. So I'm going to go to 5-point agreement. And sometimes, I mean, there's lots of different types of scales there. But for this particular case, you should know your instrument. This instrument goes from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And I'd like to number those 1 to 5. And these are the variables that I would like to number 1 to 5. Okay. Apply those changes. Great. And then I'm going to go to next. I'm going to have a subscale. I have K1 pretest, but if I have reverse coded items, so I can click that, and you'll see this shows up the reverse coding at the bottom, which is 1 to 5. So what reverse coding is if I was measuring satisfaction, I can say, how satisfied are you in the morning? High numbers are good. How satisfied are you in the middle of the day? High numbers are good. How satisfied are you in the early evening? High numbers are good. And you could say, are you dissatisfied right before bedtime? So I'm asking the question in reverse. I'll need to flip that 1 to 5, and hence the reverse coded item and the numbers with that. I can apply those changes. I need to create a variable name, pretest. And I need to select how I want that, and I'm going to average those. So I've named the subscale, I've selected average, I've endorsed the items and the reverse items or item, and then the values. Apply. I do have one more, so you can see what the pretest has done there. I have one more subscale, which is my post test. You'll notice a pretest variable is made. Oopsie. So it was just item 2 that was reverse coded. Min to max is 5. Make this a little smaller. Call this post test. Okay. Again, average. I'll just show you it's a sum. Okay. All righty. All right. And then next, we have an opportunity to add a ID variable. Doesn't hurt. And then here's my data. I have ID. I have my numbers for labels. And then I have my composite scores. And just finish. Again, if it's a number, it comes in as a scale variable. If it's, and you can change these after. And if it's a alphanumeric, it comes in as nominal. I'll hit continue. The data cleaning doesn't do everything, but it does a lot, right? So I might want to say, well, age I know is different, so I want to change that to ordinal. So I can make this, 20 to 29, and just type right into it, 30 to 39. Lots of tools keep these kind of labels. 1 is male, 2 is female, 1 is 20, 29. We just put the darn labels in there. 40 to 49, and then 50 plus. Okay, I like to just put it right back in that variable and submit. All righty, and this is really just nominal, right? All right, put that in the same variable. So the reason to have those IDs there and put them in that way, because if you had, a 22 there, for example, you can go back to observation 13 to say, hey, there's probably a data entry error there. But that's basically our data set. The one other thing that I'd want to do is for this nominal variable, one thing we've added is you can bucket these open-ended responses around leadership by using text classification. And what text classification does, you can manually look for categories or automatically. What it does is it uses both statistical analysis and AI to bucket these guys into different categories. So based on those responses, some of them are around communication and relationship building skills, org values and culture, strategic thinking, and then transformational leadership. So it's just nice to take those open-ended, do a quick and dirty, what are the buckets here? And then you can use that new variable, leadership nominal, to interact with your other variables. Okay. There's other data management tasks that are here. Okay, so I could have created composite scores by myself here. Okay. I can do things like bin data, like if I wanted to bin, the pretest into high and low, for example, and maybe have a cut score of 3.5. So you can see what the impact of those cut scores are, right? So only 3 people have scores less than 3.5. Most of them, you can see it's have higher scores and so forth. By the way, I should say that for all of these different data management tasks, there's video tutorials built right in, so you can watch that 2-minute video and see how things are done. Pardon me, I was on the binning video tutorials there. Transformation, again, there's videos there. Transformation is if a variable is not normally distributed. You can look at the impact of different transformations to see if you can make it more normal. Okay. Pardon me. Excuse me. Okay. Let's keep going. We have 10 different types of plots. I can look at a scatter plot between pre-test and post-test. I could look at it by gender. You'll notice those icons there, right? Scale, nominal, ordinal. Okay. So not the best looking plot in the world, but just know that for these few data points, you can see what the males and females are doing. You can see what the correlation is between them, overall between pre-test and post-test. No significant correlation. It's fine. And then the correlations for each males and females. And again, all the plots are pretty darn simple to look at. Pre-test, post-test. Again, notice the icons in the video. And you can see everyone's kind of doing better at post-tests, and some people are, starting out lower, the 40 to 49, but kind of ending up doing well at the end. Okay. On to the analysis part. We have a wide range of analyses from descriptives, all the correlations, t-tests, ANOVAs and MANOVAs, regressions, chi-square non-parametrics and non-parametrics, structural equation modeling, and other advanced analyses. And I'll just run a couple of things real quick and then get to other folks' projects. Run descriptives. So when you scroll over these things, that just kind of helps to reinforce, you're doing the right thing. And pre-test, post-test. Okay. Well, let's just do gender and age. Okay. And let's just do leadership nominal. So here's some variables of interest. So what is outputted is an APA table, and then here's the frequency in percent of nominal and ordinal variables, including our bucketed open-ended question, scale variables, mean, standard deviations, helpful scrollovers, APA table. We'll just do a simple t-test. Pre-test, post-test, pre-test and post-test. All right. For all of these different tests, this is the literal output. This is a, you can see at the assumptions are built in. Here, normality is assessed with the Shapiro-Wilk. It runs and then interpreted. The result of the t-test, was significant. Okay, and then here we can see the post-test is higher than the pre-test. Right. Here's an interpretation of that. APA table with scroll over. Okay, and a bar plot. The when a quantitative assumption is violated, the non-parametric test is conducted, or is on in our tool. I have that enabled. You can disable it. And what's happening here is basically it's looking at pre and post tests with a different test that don't have assumptions. Here we can see that was also statistically significant. And the medians of the pre was lower than the medians at the post, and box plot. And then we can just download that data. Up. Try and bring it over. So here's basically what we did. Descriptives, paired t-test, Wilcoxon. All right. And then here's our results of the t-test, Wilcoxon. We have APA style references for all of the in-text citations. And then a curated glossary of the terms and symbols for each of the tests that were conducted. Descriptives, t-test, and Wilcoxon. All right, it's time for a quick caveat. So we did not want anyone to take this result and plug it into their paper, be it for a journal, dissertation, or thesis. So you have to put this in your own voice. I do suggest putting it into ChatGPT, just say simplify and edit. That would be a novel write-up. But that's published with Turnitin. As are the, anything that's templatized, like that phrase. Okay. Like that phrase. Okay. Obviously the number, that's okay. The numbers will be different. So you can use all the tables, no problem. You can use all the plots, no problem. You can use the accurate interpretation, terrific. But you have to edit the you have to edit the Word document. Okay. With that being said, I think so. Let's just grab some questions out of here. And to clean and analyze data, I think I did something wrong. Why are there two independent groups, strap and ribocall, not differentiated analysis? Did you share your project?
Yes, the project's shared, and then I'll unmute you, Don, too.
Okay. Who should I go to first?
If you go to your shared projects.
Yep, pardon me. Okay.
And then it's that second one, I believe.
Got it. Okay.
And Don, you should be unmuted, so you can go ahead and talk too.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your willingness to do this.
Oh, my pleasure. So, okay, so we have a nice small data set. We have pre-test, we have post-test, and then follow-up. Wonderful. And then we have device names. So you either have one device or the other, correct?
Correct.
So we probably want to do just two things here. One is run descriptives, A, and then B, probably do a two-way ANOVA, right? I want to know if there's differences over time by group, right?
Why not a repeated measures?
So it is repeated measures. So the pre, post, and follow-up is the repeated part, but there's also a between variable of device.
Okay.
If that's important to you, maybe you just want to know overall.
Oh, no, that's probably what I did wrong then.
Well, I don't think you did it wrong. It's just a different question. So one question could be, hey, are there differences across time? Reasonable question. Are there differences on pre-test by device? That's a fine question. Or are there differences both across time and by device? All right.
Bingo. That's what I want.
Yeah. So before I do that, I'd like to do, this is prime for a profile plot. So profile, profile plot will show us this. That's what's happening over time. So at pre-test, they started about the same, hunky-dory. By the way, let me just say something there. So you should probably do a manipulation check. And what I mean by that is that there probably should be a t-test there, right? An independent sample t-test to say, are there differences at pre-test by device? And hope that, no, there's nothing there, okay?
Understood.
So, okay, so they're both starting out, they're both decreasing scores over time. For the Vibracol, much more significantly, and then at post tests. Okay, so we have a lot of information here. Right?
Absolutely.
So what we're going to want to do too is just to kind of when we look at that within over time and between device, we're going to want to do different things. Like I'm going to want to know for the strap, is there a difference between pre and post? For strap between post and follow-up. Ditto for Vibracol between pre and post and Vibracol. Okay. The other things I want to know is there a difference here? Doesn't look like there is, but we need to test it. Is there a difference from at post test between these two? And over here are the two. So those are the 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are the 7 post hoc tests I would be doing. All right. So, and then just for the fun of it, let's just export that to the analysis. The first download analysis takes a second. The other ones come much quicker. Okay, so that's added. And we go to the analysis. Okay. So you already had stuff there. Okay. So this is fine. So you could do a repeated measures ANOVA. Okay.
Yeah, but that didn't give me the answer to the question that you just alluded to, which is the difference between devices.
Right. So that is a mixed model ANOVA. Okay. And mixed is that it has a between subject variables and a within subject. So I can do the within, endorse those. I can do the between device. Okay. And then hit calculate. Now I just violated my own rule. And my own rule is that before you do anything, you should conduct descriptive statistics. That rule is getting old. So it's at least 20 years old now. So the reason for that rule is because if you go do all your analyses and you do your write-up and then you find out, I had a data entry error, it's like yuck. So let's just make sure. Okay, 5 and 12. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Great. Right. The min and max 19 and 96. If you had 296, you'd be like, data entry error. But just make sure that those seem right, these seem right, and then you're good to go. All right. We have a profile plot, and then we have our mixed model ANOVA. So with the mixed model ANOVA, assumptions are built in. You have a scroll over to see whether it looks more normal or not. you know, what am I really expecting with whatever that is, 15 or 17 folks? But at some, you'll have to make your own judgment. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm not expecting perfection here with so few.
And we're not done yet. We're not done yet. So this was just sort of a
Perfect.
preliminary idea. Yeah.
Here's another normality assumption, which it was significant, so normality was violated. We could talk about that. Homoscedasticity, not the prettiest picture in the world. Sphericity was met. Outliers. Okay, so let's get to this results. So this is the between subject variable, which is, guess what? Surprisingly, there's no overall difference between between devices. What that means is, how am I going to do that? So what that means is, if I averaged the strap at pre, post, and follow-up and got that average, and I compared that to the pre-post follow-up of the Vibracall, so get those two averages. Do they differ by device? The answer is no. There's no between subjects or between device differences. That's what that between subjects device means. No statistical difference there. Okay. Is there a within, that is to say, is there a difference from pre to post or between post and follow-up? That answers yes. And is there a interaction between device and time? Okay, and that answer is no, close but no cigar. Okay, let's get to some of those post hocs. So here for the strap, we can see from pre to follow-up, there was a difference, but not really from pre to post. It's got to be 0.05 or less, and not from post to follow-up. So only from pre to follow-up. Okay. Which device is that? That
was a strap.
That was the strap. Okay. So for strap, black, from pre to follow-up, there was a difference, but not from here to here or here to here. Okay. For the Vibracall, guess what? Differences from pre to post and from pre to follow-up, but not from post to follow-up. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do those other tests. I'm just doing real quick for you. Independent t-test, just to look at pre-test by device. Okay, pre-test dependent variable by device. I'll come back in a second. Post-test by device. Because that's the other piece that we're missing. And then independent between follow-up and device. Follow-up by device. So here, when we looked at the pre-test by device, no difference. And we can see they were right on top of each other in that profile plot. For the post-test by device, no difference statistically. Okay. And for the let's go to post-test and follow-up by device, nothing. So really what we're looking at are just those differences between pre and post for each of those guys, okay?
Yeah.
So that's just a quick snapshot of what's happening. You can look over assumptions. The Mann-Whitney is if you violate an assumption, again, non-parametric is there, and then just download your document.
That's
Cool.
a tremendous time saver. Thank you.
Excellent. How much time had you worked on this?
On the data?
Yeah,
None. We're still in the middle. We're maybe halfway through data collection. But
perfect.
what this confirmed for me is that it's worth collecting the rest of the data,
Mm,
right? I mean,
terrific.
yeah, because I mean, if you're getting dangerously close to statistical significance and you have a small n, then increasing that n is going to increase the likelihood, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep. The other quick tip I'll give you is when you go to add data, just go to add data, and you can just add a row and just paste in your additional data.
Mm.
Okay, and then hit save. Okay, that's one part of it. Then when you come back to the analyses, okay, you can just I think you just go input data and then just rerun that. Okay.
Oh, wow, nice.
When you go to the analyses, just go back to descriptives, edit, everything is there. It's going to add the new observations, and just do that for the mixed model and the rest of them.
That's very helpful.
Simple.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Terrific. You're a student or faculty?
Faculty?
Faculty. Refer other faculty and refer colleagues, refer students.
So may I ask a question about the subscription model pricing or whatever you're doing, or do you want to wait
No,
till the
that's
end of that?
fine. We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is
I
this
might get Melissa in there, but sure. What do we got?
is this a subscription model or is this a like a per incident model?
You know, if I had a nickel for each incident, that'd be awesome. That's not the case. So no, it's a subscription model. And Melissa, do you want to share about well, I'll share. The monthly is $59. You get the whole tool for a month. Pretty cheap. A whole year, $175. And if your department adopts it, the typical use case is about $70 for a whole year per user.
Okay.
And
So-
Ashley will follow up with you.
Okay, got it.
Contact
Thank you.
info, and she'll send you all that if you wanna learn more.
Thank you. The
Thank you.
Sure. The other thing I would say is that we also have a 70 lesson stat course that can go behind your LMS. It's about $8 for all 60 lessons, competency based, grades go to grade books. So just to know that that's there too. Okay. All right. Other folks on deck?
Some questions in there.
Pardon?
Yeah, we have some questions in the Q&A.
Oh, I'm sorry, pardon me. Okay. All right, so, okay, I want to determine if the difference in an ordinal dependent variable is dependent on an ordinal independent variable. Okay. Okay, the research is the level of preparedness ranked 1 to 5. Okay, determined by level of SIMS ranks 1 to 3. So I would ask, Sarah, can you get on for a second?
Yeah, I'll unmute her.
Okay, shall I use Spearman rank correlation? So, yeah.
Hi, thanks.
Hi there, how are you?
Good.
Good. So, the Spearman rank, if they're truly ranked data, okay, and I would say a 1 to 3 is purely ranked data. That's fine. So that would bring me to the Spearman. But 1 to 5 and 1 to 7, some of the literature says that when they look at these things and use it as 1 to 5 rankings, unless it's truly ranked, but when I see 1 to 5, well, level of preparedness may be truly ranked, but if it's a Likert type scales, 5 point, 7 point, you could treat it as scale, okay? But level of preparedness sounds like it truly is ranked, and then 1 to 3, I would say ranked. So yes, Spearman is the way to go. Kendall Tao, somebody smart has got to answer that question. I think that's I don't even want to speak incorrectly there. So I'll just say Spearman Row is the way to go. Okay, so I don't see either test listed.
According to Chat GPT, Kendall Tao is supposed to be used for smaller data sets.
Yeah. Yeah. And what does small mean?
Yeah. doesn't say.
What's your sample size?
Oh, what's my sample size?
Well, no,
I've
I think it's worth asking the question.
62,
Yeah. But what is your sample size?
62.
Okay, so to me, that's not a small sample size.
Okay.
So there is some other literature that, in fact, if you don't, people are looking at normality, you can almost waive the assumption of normality over 50. So I'm going to go with that's a sufficient sample size. So just the Spearman would be fine. But, I'd like to do things a few different ways too and say, oh, okay, well, look, doesn't matter what I use, I still find relationship. Okay. So I think it's fair to use the Spearman row.
But where is Spearman Row?
Okay. So
not
that's
find
sitting under here. So that's under correlations, and
Ah,
it's right here.
gotcha. Oh, look at Kendall's there too. Okay, I was looking.
What do you know?
Yeah. I was
All
looking
right.
under non-parametrics and I did not see it there.
Right. No, I know, but yeah, fair enough. Yep. Yep. Under correlations.
Cool.
Yep. All right. Any other questions at the moment?
No,
Okay.
that's what I'll try next.
Cool. All right. Share it with others. That's going to be my message, my mantra.
I have, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let me keep going to Q&A. Okay, I think I lost. Is post-op test similar? Post-op test similar to the Scheffé test? Scheffé is a post hoc test. We use Tukey's, and I know there's some slight differences about one's a little bit more liberal, one's more conservative. One of the things we really sought to do with Intellectus is kind of keep it simple. Scheffé is popular enough that it'd probably be worth putting it in there. Will also be worth mentioning it to our programmer. So just as an option, again, in a similar vein as the Spearman and Kendall Tao, run them both. Look at things with a Tukey or Scheffé and see if you're getting similar kind of results. So we don't have it at the moment, but we have the Tukey. All right. Other questions?
We'll give it a minute if anyone has any other questions, or if you've shared your project and we haven't gotten to you yet, if you could
Happy
raise
to do
your hand and then we'll unmute you and answer those questions.
I'm happy to get there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go there. Okay. Rachel, we'll get there, on Friday. Samia? Or and anyone here that you tell me to go to, it'd be fine.
I don't have any hands raised,
Okay.
but if you did share your project, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll open it up and answer your questions. And then in the meantime, we'll send the recording to everyone here, so you'll have it, and then you'll have access to the tool through tomorrow.
I do not have, I should have had the everyone's information here. Hang on.
And we have a question come in about suggesting the types of analyses based on research questions or hypotheses. So maybe go over the decision.
Thank you. Yeah, good question. So it's in there. Okay. All right. So again, in the spirit of keeping it simple, but I did say that was one of the problems, right, of a decision of figuring out what test. So you can go to the decision tree, and typical ways of going through this is, well, I have, group differences, and I have so many DVs and covariates, and we'll walk you through the kind of research question. I want to predict an outcome or look at differences. and then IVs and DVs to get to the analysis. But you can also use this kind of shortcut up here. So I'll just take the last case, I think from Sarah, which was, I want to examine relationships between my variables. They're all scale or categorical. You have any nominal? No. So we're going to be doing a Spearman correlation. Okay. So that's one way to kind of get to it. And then you could just jump to that test and put your variables in. Another one, if I want to, predict an outcome, that's scale. I'll be doing a linear regression. I could jump to that and so forth. So that's and you can play around with this. You're not going to break it. So play around with the user-friendly questions. You also have data plans built in. So when you're applying into IRB or writing your methodology, you can click on the test once you know what it is from the decision tree. And then you can, edit the data plan. You can download this and edit this. Okay. You can also do a power analysis. Again, once you know the test you're using, you can click on the test, and for different effect sizes, you can see what the sample size is. Again, you can download and edit this. We do have consulting. At the moment, it might be going away, but at the moment we have it. So you can look at those. And then, we have other courses up here that you can jump into. I think they're $5 a piece. Reference manual, video library. Other questions? If any. Let me see. I think I have one question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I have a question about how to treat a 5-point Likert scale. So that's what we just talked about. Really, there's a lot of literature that says you can use it as a scale variable, but it seems there isn't 100% agreement. Yeah, if you go to, right, if you go, we've done that research. If you go to statisticsolutions.com and then type in Likert or ordinal, Melissa, is it possible to get that reference and put it into the Q&A?
Yeah.
They rated usefulness in the genre. Okay, well, again, if it's truly Likert, I mean, you could have Likert like, one is never, one is sometimes, maybe two is, 5 to 7 times, 3 is, 8 to 100 times, and then, 5 is, 100 to 5,000, right? So you can have really, it depends on what it looks like, but typical Likert agreement levels, things of that sort, you can treat as scale. It's just for 5 and 7 point. I don't think that goes for 4 or 3. Is the qualitative analysis using intellect statistics similar or the same as qualitative intellectus program featured? So it's very different. So in the so in this, so in the intellectus statistics, this is it is using a little bit of statistical analysis and AI to come up with these buckets that folks are in. The intellectus qualitative tool, I guess I'll give that a quick plug. Really is using is really using different things when they code these. So this is they have AI tools to do inductive coding, which is really grabbing excerpts and then putting a code name to it. So it's a AI feature. We do some other stuff behind the scenes to make sure that you have very different looking codes. So the short answer is no, they are not the same. And but this does have a lot of cool features like inductive coding, auto thematizing, and so forth. So short answer is no. But thank you for making me show folks that there is a qualitative tool. Other questions, and I would put your, Melissa and Ashley, if you would put your contact information back in the Q&A or in the chat, that'd be great, just so folks have it. All right. All right, give another minute for any questions. Let me see in the chat. Okay, and then this is a few email addresses there, great. Okay, and then there's the Melissa entered in about ordinal or Likert scale. That's an important article because we grabbed several articles and then boiled that down for you and gave you some research. So when you go to say, hey, I'm going to treat it as scale, you have some reference to point to. All right, final questions. Again, my plug is to please tell everyone that there's different options in SATA or SPSS. It's easy to use. It's pretty comprehensive in terms of not only the analyses, but also in terms of rigorously looking at assumptions, interpreting things, and then getting rid of the grunt work of tables and figures, and then having an editable Word document to mess with. So yes, do share. Melissa, maybe we can share when the next sessions are coming.
Yeah, so the quantitative session is every first Thursday, and then we have a qualitative session every second Thursday of the month. And when we send the recording out to you, those links will be in there, and you can register for the next one.
And feel free to tell others that they can register as well,
Yep.
be it faculty, researchers, or students. All right. With that being said, thank you all for joining. I hope this was helpful and look forward to seeing you next time. So with that, I'll say have a very happy 4th of July. Okay. Bye all.